Hey, what's up, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, formerly known as Just My Opinion with Ryan. And damn it, man, we are here with another episode. Sheesh, man. How can I put it? I really feel like this episode was just Claire Danes reminding us all that she can act her ass off. Just in case you forgot about her performance in Homeland. Just in case you forgot about her performance back in the day with Romeo and Juliet. Her resume is like a mile long, and I believe this is just one of those episodes, just in case y'all forgot or we forget how great of an actress Claire Danes can be. And, just expressing all types of emotion in this episode, from depression, anger, sadness, and just all over again. I swear she cried like 1,000 times. And it wasn't some cutesy, pouting. This was my heart and soul is hurting, and this is my hurtful, ugly cry. Like, it was some ugly cries in this thing, which just shows you how dedicated she was in this role. I swear, only thing missing was the Viola Davis snot bubble. Let's get into it, man. Yeah, I really was excited for this episode. They start us right from Jump Street. Libby approaching Rachel in the park. Rachel, what's going on with you? You've been MIA for like 3 weeks. You got some explaining to do. Tell me what's going on. And she goes right into it. She really just gives like this recap of where her life was spiraling from the divorce all the way until she runs into Libby at the park. I'm not going to go through everything step by step, but just going to bring up some highlights through her recap that really jumped out to me. The first one being, like her childhood. They briefly go through her childhood. Definitely shows you about how her mother died at a young age. And even in high school, she came from a poor, upbringing. Was somehow able to manage to get into a private school. They didn't really say if it was like a lottery situation or not. But anyway, it just really set the stage. This is show that throughout her whole life, there's been like this balance or this chasing of like acceptance and love. And even as an adult, you see this with some of the female friends that she gets as an adult. But even with that, I'm moving too fast. One of the scenes with Rachel's recap that really jumped out to me was the pregnancy. A few episodes earlier into the season, we definitely see how the kids was born. We see Toby doing some type of paperwork, and in the background, Claire Danes looks distraught. And we get a more in detail look about what happened. Apparently, Claire Danes was feeling uncomfortable about something in her pregnancy, and she wanted to try something different. But against Rachel's wishes, the doctor, goes and examines her vagina or whatnot, and does something extremely painful and uncomfortable to Rachel. Didn't let her know what was about to go down, anything. Just straight up violating her, man. And I don't care I don't care if it's in the name of we got to get this pregnancy rolling. That just seems like a outright violation. And I'm sure that comes from a real place. And once again, I'm not a marriage guru, of course, nothing like that. I'm definitely not on some Derek Jackson shit, anything like that. But I do believe that, when it comes to a marriage, I believe husbands, prioritize being respected by their wives first, while wives prioritize being loved first. And the reason why I bring this up is I really felt like this was like kind of like the starting point of Rachel really losing respect for Toby. It's like, this man has violated your wife to the point to where she felt temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. And instead of Toby really getting in this doctor's ass, once again, I'm not saying violence, but instead of Toby getting in this doctor's ass about, yo, what the hell did you just do to my wife? Man, I got to have some words with you. I got to make an employee complaint. Hell, I might even do a lawsuit just against you individually, not the hospital, but your ass. Just the fact that he did none of that after his wife went through what she went through, I think that's kind of the starting point of where Rachel, or where any woman, could lose, respect for their husband, and so that's number one. And this was so upsetting to her that it inspires her. And of course, when she's giving birth, she's not joyful about it necessarily. She goes through kind of like this postpartum depression type of thing, which is definitely also a real thing that women go through. But she's going through this type of depression so much that she gets inspired to actually go to like a rape survivor support group instead of a postpartum depression support group. And I don't, you can't blame her. She felt violated. Once again, this was extremely painful. She didn't give any consent for the doctor to do whatever he was doing. And she felt extremely violated, and she has every right to feel that way. But once again, that's, in my opinion, another example of just that brief moment of, how talented Claire Danes can be. She goes to the support group. It's her turn to speak. They ask her what she'd like to share, and she can't even get any words out. She just starts bawling, just uncontrollably sobbing, just crying. And once again, you definitely see the reason for that. So that was one of the parts of the recap that really stood out to me. The other fascinating thing throughout this, we definitely kind of see how certain things played out from Rachel's point of view. Was she having sex with Sam Rothberg? Yes. But was she cheating on Toby with Sam? No. At least from the episodes that we've seen, there was definitely not like this affair thing going on. Everything that happened with Sam happened clearly after the divorce. Of course, Toby was still fucked up about it, just because it's somebody he knew, I guess, and once again, somebody that he despised. And so I could see how that could fuck with a man's ego, But so yeah, they definitely was having sex, and I think one of the biggest things that led to Rachel's breakdown is she just had a hard time saying no to people. She's already a workaholic around the clock. And on top of being a workaholic around the clock, when it comes to certain people, she's willing to bend over backwards for. She's bending over backwards for Sam Rothberg, trying to get his nephew into like some type of acting role or whatever the case is. She's like, yeah, I'll pull some string. One of the female friends, one of the housewives, don't even have a job. One of the housewives is like, you know what? Hook me up with some tickets to the show, and let's just me and you go to some type of show. You know what? That sounds kind of wild, but you know what? I'm gonna do it anyway. And that's another thing. Just kind of just seeing her, I guess cater to these, already snobby, entitled type of people. It really just shows you that she's still, even as a grown ass woman who's a mother of two, and a wife, instead of, saying, instead of not saying no to them, she's saying yes to other people. Rachel has to just grin and bear it. While these women are all complaining about how hard it is being a housewife, and, yet they're kind of just disregarding the fact that, Rachel is a mother and she has like a extremely demanding job. But forget all that. It's much more harder to be the housewife instead of the woman who is juggling a highly stressful job and being a mother. Forget all that. So she's grinning and bearing it, even though I felt like she really wanted to say, y'all got to get over yourselves. Y'all don't even have a job, being a housewife is your full-time job. And, it could be much worse. It could be much more demanding than just being a stay-at-home mother, wife, or whatever. But, just all that stuff, I felt like that was just something that she was just grinning and bearing. But I think the huge turning point was going to the yoga retreat with Sam Rothberg, and once again, they having sex like half the episode, all throughout Rachel's apartment, and definitely when they went on this yoga cruise. I mean, yoga getaway, whatever, And I think that was really where the turning point was, because she was like recalling like a conversation she had with Toby at some point about the possibility of her getting an LA office. And despite how highly successful she was at her job and stuff like that, there was a point to where Toby was like, yeah, you go to LA, but you're not taking the kids. We wouldn't even miss you. Something to those lines. And that was probably the most hurtful thing anyone has ever said to Rachel, despite how tough an exterior Rachel normally has. So I feel like that was a turning point at the yoga spot, because she is really internalizing those feelings. She's crying. She's thinking about her kids, thinking about how she's losing her family, to the point to where Sam was like, yeah, this is not fun anymore. I'm out. I don't think this affair thing is working out anymore. Whatever the case is. I also even enjoyed the little part to where we definitely see Rachel screaming her lungs out, just to relieve all that stress that she had bottled up. That seemed like it was very much so needed. But yeah, even after, Sam, breaks up with her, all of a sudden it's like she has no distraction. Despite being at this resort, she has no distraction from this phone that is going off what seems to be every 5 seconds, whether it's some request in an email, or whether it's a call about work, whether it's her assistant telling her about something, whether it's her number one actress trying to ask about a particular role. Just all these things are just spitballing at her constantly. And it's annoying, Toby saying that it's her weekend to pick up the kids. All this stuff is coming at her full force, to the point where she feels so overwhelmed that she buries her phone, like at the backyard or at the resort somewhere, And just to backtrack, that's what we saw about why Toby was frustrated. Toby is reaching out to her, and that's the reason why she's not answering. She freaking buried her phone. And even when she comes back to from the resort, it's to the point where she doesn't even know what day it is. Like, she is just spiraling out of control. I think, and 2 final pieces of the recap, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. When she gets back to the apartment and she realizes that she still needs sleep, that part was it was just so brilliantly shot. This woman is saying, you know what? I think I want beef lo mein. She calls to get beef lo mein. Libby, as the narrator, says whatever about, she says whatever she says about her college roommate always getting beef lo mein whenever she wanted meat and didn't want any vegetarian food. She orders beef lo mein. She eats beef lo mein and realizes that she doesn't like it. So she spits it up in the sink. She then, she tries to go back to sleep. I think she tries to work out. And then she cycles back to calling that same restaurant for beef lo mein yet again. So she's ordering beef lo mein like 8 times in one night, only to realize that she doesn't like it. So it was depressing, but at the same time, brilliantly shot. And every time she orders a beef lo mein, we hear the exact same narrator sentence that she says about why she thinks beef lo mein is such a good idea. That part was brilliantly shot. I was just amazed, but at the same time, it was depressing to see. At the same time, just see someone losing this type of control. And the final part of the recap that really kind of brought Rachel and Libby together, she kind of, after she comes to and she realizes how far she's been out the loop. Once again, she's been out the loop for three weeks. She literally basically fell off the face of the earth for like 3 weeks. She goes back to her number one actress client or whatever. The actress is definitely concerned, but also upset at the same time. She's concerned because she could tell there's some type of disheveled, distressed look about Rachel. But she's also upset because it's like, I called you for like 3 weeks and you didn't answer. My lawyer's been reaching out to you. You didn't return his calls. You gave me no choice but to move on with another agency or whatever she said. And even that, you could tell it really bothered Rachel. I mean, Rachel gave her client no choice, but you could just tell that there's something off. There's just something mentally not clicking with Rachel. And that's what we definitely see in this whole episode. Just someone spiraling. And then that brought us to the present where Libby is doing her narrative thing or monologue to end the episode. And I really enjoyed this point when she was just like, you know what? I was so wrapped up into Toby's point of view, I forgot to hear what Rachel was going through this whole time. And, she said something along the lines of, when it comes to like a story, there are actually no heroes. There are actually no villains. It's just people who have flaws, and people who hide their flaws well, or whatever the case that she said. I'm paraphrasing it. But I thought that was just so beautiful. Because I swear, all the episodes leading up to this current one, I couldn't stand Rachel. But after this episode, like, my heart goes out to Rachel. We literally saw a recap of a woman who just had a mental breakdown to the point to where she just didn't know how long she was MIA. She didn't know what day it was. She was just completely out of the loop. And that was sad to watch. But at the same time, such an amazing performance by Claire Danes. I guess we can only, anticipate some type of honest, naked truth conversation between Toby and Rachel next episode, which I think is the finale. So I'm looking forward to it. I thought this was a very dope episode, and this has been another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything. Peace.